Good morning. Welcome to the Take Your Life Back Today radio show. Also to be seen on YouTube this Monday, rainy Monday morning, early in the morning. And I want to talk to you about how empathy and understanding are better responses to addiction than judgment and moralization. Folks, I'm going into my 6th year of continuous sobriety. Do you know one aspect I've discovered about myself? I bet you didn't know. It's easy for me to get on a high horse about addiction. I could sit here and preach all day. I don't relish revealing this to you. I would like you to think that since I've been there, I am much more empathetic in my response toward other struggles with learning how to live without drugs and alcohol. I suppose my eventual response I give to family, friends, even to the way our society shapes policy with regard to addiction, ultimately communicates compassion and understanding. My friends, at least I hope so. But it's not my knee-jerk reaction. I still fight with an overactive ego, and it seems to be on steroids, pumping iron in the background of my subconscious. I would like to think that I am better than other people, that the addiction I've overcome can never resurface, that my past is past and I'm a great guy, and I hear the messages bubbling up from who knows where, but I'm not that person. I'm humble and I'm empathetic. Why can't she just get her act together, I might ask somebody. I mean, it's been 10 years already and you're still drinking. You could ask that to other people. That's being judgmental. This guy hasn't hit bottom yet. There's nothing I can do for him or her. Another negative response. Just quit drinking. Things will improve. It's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal. You can't respond that way. You know that keeping your dealer's phone number on your phone isn't a good idea, you idiot. Another negative response. Here's the thing. These thoughts are complete, utterly garbage. Mostly because if I were to say them out loud, the response would be more pushback from the people I want to help in the first place. So I don't even do that as an addiction recovery coach, because that's exactly how I reacted before I got sober with people who cared about me, but only moralized and judged me. The fact is, judgment or moralizing to alcoholics, addicts, and active addiction is at least the least effective method to bring change. Instead, understanding addiction and finding empathy for the person hold greater value. We need first to flesh out the reasons why one reaction is superior to the other to fully understand this. My friends, empathy versus sympathy. People sometimes think that empathy and sympathy are the same things, but they're not. Sympathy simply acknowledges another person's hardship and struggles. Instead, empathy is understanding what a person is thinking or feeling because you've experienced it yourself, or at least you can put yourself in his or her shoes. Here's an example. Sympathy. You sure smoke a lot of pot. You want to quit, and it's an uphill battle. Empathy. I know it's not easy to quit smoking pot because I remember how carefree it made me feel. I didn't want to give it up either. If the difference seems subtle, it's because it is. The contrast between sympathy and empathy becomes clearer when you understand that empathy objectifies the problem while sympathy objectifies the person. When we objectify people, we reduce them to other. When we objectify the problem and genuinely strive to place ourselves in that person's situation through understanding, we connect with them on an emotional level. Do you see the difference? Dr. Brown said it's best in TED Talk, empathy fuels connection, sympathy drives disconnection. The following statement was made back 2 years ago. So why is sympathy such a bad thing? Because it gives an easy path to judgment, and we don't want to judge. Sympathy, the sure path to judgment, moralizing, and tough love, sympathy objectives the person and essentially turns them into their problem. The problem with problems is that they stink. Take addiction. The person who The person you once knew is now stealing, not showing up for work, driving drunk, spending all the money on drugs, destroying their health, etc., etc., etc. It's very easy when you see these problems manifest themselves in a person's life to have an emotional response. I mean, who wouldn't? You care about them, they're destroying themselves. However, emotional responses often lead to judging and moralizing the person for their problem instead of understanding addiction for what it is, a brain illness that affects a person's behavior. Folks, the superiority and lack of understanding and judgment or tough love don't work with addicts and alcoholics very well. Mostly because it's part of what makes us addicts and alcoholics in the first place. Why judgment and moralizing don't work with addiction. People suffering from the substance use disorder are often stubborn and strong-willed. We don't want to admit defeat. We certainly don't want you telling us that we're leading our lives the wrong way. Despite all signs and consequences drugs or alcohol cause, they seem to be doing something for us, and we don't want to give them up. I recall one time when I was a very active person addicted to alcohol, and I remember some people pointing fingers at me. I remember blacking out. I don't remember most of the conversation I was having with individuals, but I do recollect that people were very, very annoyed at me. Looking back, I can't blame these people. I said I would quit drinking dozens of times, and there I was, drunk, passed out again and again. People's responses was natural. The problem with people's reactions was it only encouraged me to double down with my secrets. This experience is common with parents, relatives, or friends, or someone you know who is suffering from substance addiction. The yelling and the screaming, the pleading, the promises, or the threats, they seem to go nowhere. Sometimes the problem seems only to get worse. Sympathy places the problem as an issue the other needs to deal with. It's easy to react emotionally with all the frustration addiction offers to other people. Does that mean we don't try to help? Not at all, my friends. It also means that the consequences associated with addictions are real, and we shouldn't be shy about laying down the law. However, we need to react in empathy for the very real struggle addiction is. Why empathy and understanding do work. Empathy is the act of understanding a problem so wholly that we ourselves experience the thoughts and the emotions that the other person is dealing with. Empathy is hard. It takes work. You need to authentically listen and relate, even if you haven't experienced how horrible addiction can be and how wonderful drug or alcohol use seems to that person. You can understand what they're going through. First, addiction is a disease of an organ in a human body, namely the brain. Second, that the use of addictive chemicals hijacks a person's decision-making abilities. And last, the following little tidbit, which encapsulates the whole point I'm trying to make. The person is never the problem is the problem. Empathy and understanding work for addiction, not because they are. Intervening permissive attitudes, quite the opposite fact. Knowing just how difficult it is to give up something you love, drugs and alcohol, makes the person who is addicted realize that you're willing to understand, to relate to them. When I finally got sober, people around me said, go to AA, and said you'll become healthier. Some people even guided me to different programs. But folks, the fact that people were even showing me concern made me feel good. They didn't become permissive or stop caring alongside of me. They truly wanted to help me. Alongside addiction treatment that I got through my self-belief in God, today I am still sober. Empathy works because it's real compassion grounded in understanding. Call me at 844-405-HELP. Together, you and I, we can help each other take our lives back. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And remember, a simple smile to a total stranger can go a long way. It can change your life. Empathy versus sympathy. Get the difference and separate them. May God bless each and every one of you, and take good care on this rainy